Welcome to Sesto Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. I want to thank everybody for watching Tracy's weekly rant last night. This hasn't got 100 views under 24 hours. I want to thank Facebook for actually not putting it down either, for taking it down.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
pretty
And
bad.
now
You gotta
they'll
say that.
now they'll take it down.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. You gotta say that. But again, co-hosting as always is Tracy from In Dark Places. How are you? Well, he's from Sesto Podcast as well. How are you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. Super excited with this one. Super excited.
Yeah, man. We are blessed enough to have a guest that everybody knows name as Crockeye. How are you doing tonight, man?
Good. How are you all? I'm formerly known as Cronkite.
And how did you get that nickname, actually?
Well, when the show started, it was we were trying to figure out what I could be called, and honestly, it was just one of those things. Like, I really don't know. I mean, Booger, or what do you want to call me? And he was just like, well, how about Cronkite? Because I started out doing the news segment.
Walter Cronkite.
So
it
just made good sense to do that, and it just kind of stuck from there.
Nice.
That's a great name, though, man, for sure. And
yeah.
I know you and Tracy. I'm gonna ask you and Tracy, what is because you two are, Tracy's a retired trucker and you're an active trucker. What is the weirdest thing both of you all have seen on the roads? And Tracy, this ain't even about the UFO, human wise, that you've seen from humans on the side of the road.
I'll let you go first because I
lizards.
have one that's pretty lengthy. Well, yeah, that's a lot lizards. Yeah. And if you find one with all their teeth, they're like gold.
Yeah, I've never seen one with all their teeth.
No. Okay. I was coming through Arizona, coming across I-10, and I don't even remember the name of the town, but this little truck stop I pulled into, it had if you've ever seen the movie, come on, it'll come to me. It's a Tarantino movie about the vampires. Anyway, it looks like that building. If I'll think of it here in a minute. And I pull in there, and it's just an old dirt lot, and it's like 1 a.m. And I'm going in to get something to eat, and the lady comes and asks me what I'd like to drink, and I said I'd like to have give me a Diet Coke. She said, "We don't have Coke. We have coffee, water, tea, or milk." They ain't but about 3 people in this place, and I'm thinking, and it's like an old Spanish facade on the side, and it's got terracotta roof, and I mean, it's just like, it screams vampire. Okay, it's got wrought iron stuff on the windows. So after she scares me to death, telling me I can't have a Coke, I blissfully ask for a water, and after I eat, every truck stop has, well, I don't know if they still do, but back in the day, they had TV rooms where you could go in and sit down and actually get out of the truck for a while and watch TV. So I walk into this TV room, which is basically a room that's about 12 by 12. It has a couch, 1 chair, and a floor model TV. This little dude, he looked like he was about 15 years old, and he's laying on the couch, sound asleep. I'm assuming he's asleep. And this older guy, he's a Mexican guy, and he's got the chair leaned up against the wall with his hat pulled down like this. And he's sitting laying, just typical what you would think, okay, old time Mexican stuff. And he's got this cowboy hat and it's pulled down over, and it's all sweat stained like he's been out in the desert sun. And he's got a cigarette burning between his fingers. And I look and I'm like, okay, I'm getting out of here before I become part of the scenery. So I go out to the truck, and I go all the way on out to California. Okay. And I do my stuff out there, and I'm out there a day. And on the way back, I stop at this place again. And I am not kidding you. When I walk into this room, the same kid is laying on the couch in the same clothes. The same Mexican guy is in the corner like this, leaned back with the cigarette burning in his fingers like it has never moved. So I'd lightly tap him on the shoulder, and he kind of peeks up out from under his hat like this. And I said, "I think that kid on that couch is dead." And he mumbles something in Spanish and throws his cigarette like this, and he just comes right back. I was like, I'm out of here, dude. I'm not being a witness to this at all.
I think
Okay.
you found a portal in time where everything was stopped.
It was like the Twilight Zone, man. It was everything was the same 2 days later. Nothing had changed.
Did
That's
he say
wild.
vámonos? He said vámonos, didn't he?
I can understand some Spanish, but what he said, I probably shouldn't repeat.
I mean, this is pretty much you can say whatever you want.
Well, I know, but my pastor might be watching.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I got you. So
Yeah, you don't hear virgin ear stuff on the road.
No, it's hard to even find a Christian truck driver anymore.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
true.
see, now that's you're telling me some stories about when you were trucking. You how did you deal with the hours of service stuff? This stuff is ridiculous.
Well, see, I'm old school, old paper log. Like we used to run paper logs,
Right.
which to me was 10,000 times easier than this crap they got now. Why the government thinks you need to take a 30-minute break? It's the dumbest crap I've ever heard in my life. The new hours of service is setting you up to fail because your 14-hour clock, and I know a lot of people don't understand this, and it's hard for me to understand. I've been doing it for 20 some years. But if you stop to take a nap, that 14-hour clock doesn't stop.
Mm-mm.
So it's hard if you need to take an 2 or 3 hour nap to get your energy back to get on down the road. Well, that 14-hour clock is still killing your wallet.
Yep.
So a lot of these guys are pushing it, and they're going to push it when before, anytime you went off duty, your clock stopped, period. Well, when they come out with this new electronic log stuff, I've been hoping and praying that they change this somewhat. I understand. Look, we got to have laws because there are guys out there that will push it to the nth degree. I was one of those guys, but I had enough sense to know that when I got tired, I stopped. But there was many times I would be out of hours and I felt like trucking, man. I'm ready to go. So I would go, especially with paper logs. I could play it around, and I've been checked many times. I could play with it enough to still be legal. But, and the thing is, especially on Friday, everybody gets a little ballsier because you're on your way home. If you're running out of hours, you're still heading to the house. Well, there's many times, and I don't know what statute of limitations is, but I've never.
I know what you're saying.
Anyway, I would call my boss and I'd say, look, I'm in Wisconsin or Wyoming. I'll be home in the morning. I don't even look at it. I'd turn it off, throw it in the bunk, and go. And I'd be sitting at the house the next day. But it's very challenging. I don't know what the answer is to fix the problem other than I think when they took the paper logs out, that hurt us big time. And when they kept this 14-hour clock going, that killed us. And basically, I think what they're doing is the government is trying to get rid of all of the small independent guys. They want these big conglomerates, Snyder, Swift, Walmart, JB Hunt, all these big companies to be out there versus, Clifton Ford, who's got, 18 trucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. But the problem is when you run into those large carriers is a lot of them will have their own trucking school. And, some of them are pretty good, but a lot of them just want a body in the seat to move the freight. That's and correct. A lot of guys get on the road that shouldn't be on the road. No. Now, the 14 hours, what I've seen is they need to really consider, it's a computer log that it's easy to keep track of the time. It's easier to keep track of the time now and not flub up than was paper logs. So your 14-hour clock should be whenever you work, because there's times that I've driven for 1 hour at the beginning of my shift and had to sit in a dock for 11 more hours. That's I can't go anywhere.
Nope. And
you know what I mean?
And you think your wallet, how bad that hurt you that day, because you're right. You drove 1 hour, and because these guys scheduled you way too early and now they're running behind you, they've kind of screwed you. So now you have to take a 10 or 11 hour break before you can start driving again.
Yeah. So a one day load is now taking you what, 2.5 days now?
That's right.
That's
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy. And the other thing about these big carriers is they can cut the rates so low
Mm-hmm.
that, where an independent has to haul something for, say, even $4 a mile, a little on the cheap side for them.
Yeah.
And then a big company will come and say, okay, we'll haul it for $1.80 a mile. And
And
it's
that's
like
because they're paying these guys 27
pennies.
cents, 32 cents,
Pennies.
and just keeping them running. And the small guys have to not only pay their own insurance, they have to pay themselves. They have to pay the truck to make sure the truck is legal and stays legal. But not only that, you have to take care of your equipment, tires, 2 steer tires, $600 a piece.
Oh yeah, that's $1,000 right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. But going back to your question there, Seth, the weirdest thing that I've seen on the road that I can't explain was I was in Arizona somewhere, and I'm on this back road coming from Mesa, Arizona, and I was trying to link up to, I think it was I-10 or 20 or something like that. But I mean, I'm coming through the desert, like a 2-lane, genuine desert road.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's cactuses standing up on each side of the road, like cactuses you would see in the movies. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Roadrunner, off a Roadrunner. Yeah.
yeah. It's actually pretty cool. Beautiful area out there, by the way. But there was a helicopter. I think it was it looked like an Apache, a military helicopter that was kind of flying directly in front of me. And I took my eyes off of it for a few minutes to check my mirrors and all that. And looked back, the thing had vanished. I couldn't see it anywhere in my vision. And we're talking like a matter of, how long does it take to check your mirrors? What, 2 or 3 seconds?
Every 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I look down, check my mirrors, look back up. This thing is not there. Now, yeah, of course, an attack helicopter can move pretty quick, but I didn't hear. I stopped and got out to look to see where they got. Bugged me a little bit. Couldn't hear it, couldn't see it, nothing. So it was kind of strange. It made me think that maybe there was some sort of advanced technology that was kind of masking that helicopter. Maybe that was an experiment, because it was just one helicopter flying in the middle of nowhere. So it was kind of strange.
Did you ever get the opportunity to run out in Nevada, out towards the Little Alien out there in Hyco, Nevada?
Oh yeah.
And the
I've been to
extraterrestrial highway. Yeah. And is that not one of the coolest places in the world? And it's
and
right in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, being an alien geek like I am, I went into that little that little gift shop, and I spent so much money on stupid shit. But it was cool. It's something I've never done before, and it's something you could talk about. The Little Alien is awesome. It's a little shack in the middle of nowhere. They have a restaurant, or I think there's still a restaurant there, but it's like kind of like a bar.
It's in a trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's 20, I think she said 26 rooms there at this little motel.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You're
that in?
It's in Nevada. It's a little town called, I think, Hyco.
Oh,
it's right around Helen, or maybe Helen, Nevada.
Oh, it's in the desert, ain't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, you'll be driving and you're in the desert, and then just out of the blue, boom, there it is. And if you blink and go past it, you won't see nothing else for a while.
No. Yeah. And if anybody who wants to see this country, if you have time to drive it, you need to drive it. This is one of the most beautiful countries we have.
Yes.
This is the terrain. You start on one coast, mountains, plains, desert, more mountains, and a rocky coast. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And pictures do not do it justice. I don't care how good the pictures are. But just for example, like Colorado, everybody thinks, Colorado mountains, this and that, which it is. But on the east side of Denver, you're in the high plains, and it's all flat. There's not a tree in sight, and you'll see a jackrabbit 200 yards off the road.
Yeah.
But you get to Denver west, and it is something that is picturesque, snow-capped mountains. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful.
Oh, definitely. I broke down in Denver one time, and I'm from Kentucky. We're 600 feet above sea level here, and I had to stay in Denver for an extended period of time. And I was like, well, I'm getting kind of hungry. I think I'm going to walk down the street to there's a little pizza joint or whatever.
Did you need oxygen before you got there?
I had to Uber back, and I felt like a piece of shit. I was like, you fat motherfucker. How can you?
You're over 5,000 feet above sea level, and the air, I tell you what it did for me. It made me think of the athletes that go out there and play ball.
I don't know how they do it.
I can't imagine. You'd have to be there a couple of weeks just to get a little bit acclimated to it. But it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been tops a half a mile down to this pizza shack and back to the hotel. And it absolutely, I had to go home and take a nap. It was bad.
Oxygen deprivation.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I love it out west. I mean, even in California, especially Western California, you get like from the Arizona state line to say Barstow, or you run up towards Tehachapi and places like that. It's beautiful country. Not a big fan of LA, everybody talks about how bad the people are and the liberals out there. And I never really met any bad people out there. I don't know if they're just all that nice and they just have weird beliefs. Of course, there's a lot of hippies and stuff out there and a lot of weird people, but I didn't mind California at all, but especially West or East California, where the desert people are at. I tend to associate with those type people better.
Yeah. I'll tell you what amazed me the first time I went to California. I drove from the southern area of California to northern California. The amount of farms, I didn't realize how many farms were there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Tracy, California is, that's all it is. And and there's actually cowboys out there. And it's crazy because you get away from LA and it's real normal people. Not that the people in LA aren't normal, but
they ain't normal.
Well, you're really not. But I'm talking like real hardworking cowboys that ride horses and wear hats.
There's a conservative area of California. It's just there's so many people in LA and Sacramento and San Francisco and San Diego and all them cities that it just cancels their votes out pretty much.
Now, in your travels, you get to experience all different types and cultures of food.
Oh yeah.
Now, and I was in San Diego and I was in the Chinatown, and I love Chinese food, and I love seafood. So I kind of gravitate towards Chinese food because they do a lot of seafood. And I walk into this place and I knew it was going to be bad when I was the only basic round eye guy walking in the place. And when I walk in, I see this guy and he has chopsticks and he picks up this little bitty octopus and it's going like this. And I'm thinking, surely he's not going to eat that thing. And he sticks that thing in his mouth, and I'm not kidding you. It starts going like this. And he crunches and that thing goes.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, nah, I got bologna in the truck, man.
Yeah, bologna sounds much better than that.
I need my food to be dead and not move. I don't want my food fighting me.
No, it ain't grabbing onto my medulla oblongata and hanging on and choking me to death,
Is there food that made you guys sick or anything when you was on the road?
I got a long story about that too.
I've had some truck stop food that probably wasn't actual food that made me sick.
I was on the way out to California, but stopped in Oklahoma City and ate Salisbury steak at the Petro in Oklahoma City. By the time I made it to Hesperia, California, I was in the bathroom throwing my guts up and I passed out.
Oof.
Throwing up so hard. Yeah, it was it was terrible. Blacked my eye, knocked myself out. It was a horrible experience.
Gosh, really.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's I tell you, the best burrito I have ever had in my life was on the road. Probably, I think it was in southern Texas. That's right down there around the border, and genuine They make it the salsa is homemade right there. Oh gosh, delicious.
It's like Laredo. I mean, you may die walking from your truck to the restaurant and back, but you'll eat good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Calexico, California. I used to go there quite a bit, and it was like less than a mile from the Mexican border. But there was just a little taco joint right there. I used to eat at all the time, and people from like Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia, they don't know Mexican food. Like,
You're
Right.
right now.
I mean, it's because it's just a class above what we have here as Mexican restaurants.
Well,
Oh yeah, you think about how good. Oh, sorry. Do
Oh,
what now?
I said there's 1,000 Mexican restaurants here. My bad.
Yeah, and you think about how the Mexican food here is pretty tasty. You can't imagine how much better and I'm not even talking like going into a fancy restaurant. I mean, we're talking like a taco stand on the side of a dusty highway.
A roach coach. I mean, roach coach. They're just dotted all over the country.
Oh yeah, just anywhere close to the border, really.
Oh yeah.
Especially down South Texas, you go down towards Brownsville or Laredo, out West Texas towards El Paso. I mean, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a taco burrito guy.
Me too. Me too.
I think all of us are.
I had tacos for dinner.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I had homemade.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that.
No.
I know Crockeye, you have are you going to go by Crockeye in your new podcast? I know you got a new podcast coming out, and we definitely want to talk about that. And
I'm probably not going to be called Cronkite on there. I'm going to go by, formerly known as Cronkite. I'm going to go as the Paranormal Trucker. That's actually going to be the name of the podcast. Now, paranormal usually people associate with ghosts. So if this is going to be mainly anything and everything unexplained, we're going to be talking about sci-fi movies. We're going to be talking about what truck drivers see when we stop at truck stops, and really just a kind of like the like an everyday kind of, I won't say a vlog because it's not going to be a vlog at all. It's going to be more or less, hey, where are you guys coming from? What have you seen anything strange? Kind of stuff like that,
Right.
And just kind of go from there to see what the everyday trucker goes through.
Yeah. And if you guys want to talk about, have you guys ever seen anything? I know Tracy has, and we'll definitely get in that story because that story is definitely very entertaining and very authentic as well, because just the way his face does when he tells that story, you can tell he's telling the truth, because he acts like he never wants to see it again. But
oh man,
but the Paranormal Trucker, is there anything that you have seen out on the road, like UFOs, ghosts, Mothman, Bigfoot?
I won't. I mean, nothing like that. I mean, I've seen UFOs here in Kentucky, and more recently in February and March of this year, actually.
Where at?
Around Pikeville. But there was 2 craft that I could see, and then there was a 3rd craft that Goose could see, actually. And it was they were kind of in a triangle. They were there almost every night, but in different locations for a couple of weeks. It was very weird. But on the road, and Tracy, you might have experience with this, but have you ever the black dog phenomenon?
I know about it. I don't know that I've actually experienced the black dog, but I have a couple of times over the years thought I saw almost like a person standing in the road that was solid black. And
shadows.
For just a minute, by the time you see it, you don't even have time to let off the gas,
Mm-hmm.
and you almost brace yourself like, oh, what was that? And nothing happens. You're like, man, it's time to go sleep. Something's messing with me.
Yeah, that's it. And what it really is they say that, when a lot of drivers push themselves, they're tired or whatever. But, we talk about shadow people all the time. I mean, drivers have to see that stuff too,
And you think, especially out west, of just the history of the West, American Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
You think of the people that have died going out that way. I mean, there's probably bodies been littered out the west for hundreds of years.
Yes.
Since the Great Migration out that way. I mean, it wouldn't be nothing really surprising if, you went to go put a house somewhere and run across a graveyard that's, 150 years old. I mean, so that there's spirits out there. So why would it be any different for a trucker driving down the road and, see one, standing
Yeah.
in the road?
Well, and you have to think about, no deaths. This country was built on blood and bloodshed and sacrifice, and none of the deaths in the early days were pleasant. They're
No.
all very tragic, very hard, harsh death. That has to leave an imprint on the fabric of whatever.
Sure. It would be almost like the way I think of it is you throw a rock into a pond that is glass steel on top, but you get that ripple. And to me, those ripples are kind of like echoes in time.
Yeah.
And every now and then something triggers that echo to where you can physically see it for however long. Usually it's just a couple seconds, but it's that effect of that ripple. And
that's a good way to look at that.
Open up that echo in time. So
yeah, that's a good way to look at that. I've never thought about it that way, but yeah, you're exactly right. It makes sense.
Now, my UFO story, I've always been intrigued. I had never seen one. I've never, up to that point. It was 2018 or 17. I can't quite remember. But anyway, it was about 2 a.m. I was traveling east on I-40 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And if you've ever been there, Albuquerque sits kind of in a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming west, the road comes down into Albuquerque. And if you're going east, it comes down into Albuquerque. It's about 2 a.m. I'm talking to my wife on the phone. I had just literally got this phone and I'm kicking myself because I hadn't even had time to figure out how to take a picture on it. So I'm traveling east and I notice, Albuquerque's pretty well lit up. And I notice over the top of the city, something coming kind of towards me. And as I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, I don't ever remember seeing planes taking off or landing in that area. So, okay, that's kind of weird. And it just keeps getting closer and closer. And I tell my wife, and at this time I'm joking. I said, I'm about to be abducted. Well, as it clears the lights, it comes to me and I'm thinking, Tammy, I'm not kidding. This thing it's a UFO. No kidding. It's a triangle and it's flying directly at me. Low. I mean, low. Wow. I'm on the interstate. I slow down to about 25 miles an hour. I'm slamming on brakes because this thing is so low, it looks like it's going to hit me. And I've got my head hanging out the window looking at it, and it flies directly over me. And it's the size as if you took 6 tractor trailers and put them in a triangle, nose to tail. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. On each point is a red light, and in between are white lights. It flies directly over me, and it's less than 500 feet. And it goes across the interstate because the whole time I'm talking to my wife, and there's traffic. And I'm thinking, there's no way I'm the only person seeing this. And it goes across the interstate, would be north of the interstate, and it stops dead. Now, we're not talking just flying fast at all. It just like it's hovering and gliding across, and it stops. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking dead at it. And I keep looking at the road, trying not to kill myself. And it starts coming back across, and it flies right back in front of me and goes back over, not directly over the city, but it just keeps going south. And then it's gone. And it lasts, like I said, I probably saw it a good 2 minutes. And when I got home, I was actually on my way home. And when I got home, I interneted everything about anyone seeing anything in Albuquerque. I checked the news. I checking all these UFO reports, and nobody mentioned a thing.
Really?
And that's the one and only time I've ever seen one. And
now, do you think it was because they the kind of immediate blackout, or do you think it's because it's something so normal that they see out there?
Well, I was thinking more the lines that it's just so normal that it's like, it's another UFO, whatever.
Really? Wow.
And
That's crazy.
White Sands isn't that far from there. Los Alamos isn't that far from there. So, and I'm not. That's why I say I don't know that if it was from out of this world or if it was one of ours that they were testing. But all I know is it was different, and I can tell you it was close enough to me, even though it was dark. It was lighter black than the night sky, almost a it had like a gray tinge to it. It wasn't quite solid black. And it had some markings on the side, but I just saw the markings for a split second. So I don't know what those markings were. It wasn't anything I recognized. Yeah. But the way it moved, just as I seen it, they went out of my view. But I could still see the UFO, but I couldn't see the markings on that side because it was already facing away from me. But when it come back across, it had turned where I couldn't see the markings on that side. But the crazy thing is, I never heard a sound. Nothing.
That was my next question was, did you hear anything?
All I heard was the wind from my window down. And which, at 75, 80 mile an hour is pretty loud, but at 25 isn't all that loud.
Right.
So I don't think it was drowned out by the wind, but I heard nothing, not a thing. Yeah. But the crazy thing, I just kept telling my wife, I said, I'm not the only one that can be seeing this, because traffic was going west and there was cars behind me. And I said, there's no way I'm the only one seeing this. But they just went on about their business like it was nothing. So did I really the only one see it? Did the planets align just right to where I could see it only? Or was it just that normal?
That's what I was about to say. They just used to it, man. Because that's the crazy sighting, man. Because
I'm not used to it.
I know. You can tell
so
by
weird.
your face that you can tell by your face you're telling the truth. Because man, you are like, I don't want to see another one.
Not that close. Not like that.
We researched, kind of. We come across some of the UFO stuff, and then what it sounds like you had was they call it like a TR-3B.
Okay.
And it is I think Goose said that it was patented by the Navy, and it has an anti-gravity propulsion system.
Okay. Well, that would make sense. Yeah.
But now the markings that you talk about that you didn't recognize, that's kind of strange.
Well, but what I mean by that is I seen it for such a little time, I couldn't tell if it was, say, hieroglyphics or letters. I couldn't tell. It was that quick, because just as I glanced at it, it was turning away. But I know there were some markings on it, but I don't know what. And
that's still cool. Daggone, man. I wish you could have figured out that camera phone. That'd have been awesome.
I left the house like 3 days before with that phone. And I never dreamed I was going to have to be taking pictures at a split second, Right. Like, so I said, whatever. And then, Seth will tell you, I'm about the most unintelligent person when it comes to these things. And, and I'm talking to my wife on the phone, and I'm trying to look, and I'm looking at this, and I'm doing this and looking. And by the time it was all done, but that is my one and only UFO story.
It would make sense that they would, it would be in that area, all the, hang on, I've got a horse that's barking at me.
That's okay. I got one too. She usually barks too.
He's a Great Dane. I guess he's mad that he's out on the porch right now. Hang on.
Oh, got you.
Oh, Tracy, what do you got upcoming on In Dark Places?
Well, we're supposed to do some stuff today, and things got jumbled up. So I think we're going to shoot for tomorrow or the next day. But hopefully everything will be good, and we'll get something out Wednesday, Thursday-ish, I'm hoping.
Yeah. And here we had on tomorrow, we got Honey on at 9 p.m.
Yep, Honey's on tomorrow. Knuckles on Thursday. Roy Cottle on Friday.
We got somebody on Wednesday too.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to be here. So, it's kind of hard.
It's at 10 p.m. So if you show up late, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's my plan is not to be, but I know things, especially when we get out of church.
You're going to church, man. That's way. way more important than an interview.
Well, if I'm committed to doing it, I'd still like to be here, but I'm gonna do my best to be here. So,
I mean, if you're running late, you can just join
okay,
middle of the interview or whatever. It doesn't matter because Zoom is just that cool.
yeah, and I mean, whatever. I mean, we do what we do, right?
You gotta go to church. That's for sure, man. You can't miss church. And next Monday we got Kentucky Music Mafia. I'm very excited about that interview. And then next Tuesday we got
Don Neal.
Don Neal. Very excited for that as we talk everything Bigfoot with the best Bigfoot researcher in Kentucky.
He's the man. That's for sure.
And then Thursday we got one of our favorite guests, Wes Ship, on. He will be singing as well.
That's
Cannot wait for that July the 29th.
Yeah, him and Honey did a big show at Mutt's today.
Trenton, Ohio?
It was in Trenton, Ohio. That's right. Him and her both. And if you haven't got a chance to, Wes is awesome singer by himself. Honey is awesome, but you put them together and they're amazing.
Yeah, it's I can't wait to hear them do an album and stuff.
Yeah.
But the Paranormal Trucker, what was we talking about before?
Well, I just got done with my UFO story.
Oh, my bad. I know you did Hear the True Bubblegum for 6 months, and that's a great show. And Tracy will actually be on there. What day, Tracy?
August the 8th, as of right now. August the 8th.
Very nice.
And that'll be on there the week after, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They put it on that next Sunday on WXLR, and then here in Knott County, and with the radio station here in Knott County.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to listen to it for sure. And
I was going to tell Cronkite about what do you guys know? And I'm no expert at this at all. I'm just the other podcast I do, the In Dark Places with Junebug. He actually went down and did some research and was doing a documentary on when the UFO collided with the CSX train.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you talk about when you called them? Actually, you called CSX.
Yeah, we called CSX, and they had a very seemed like scripted answer, wanting to know an incident number and a case number and things like that. And then didn't have that, couldn't go any further. You know what I mean? So, but as far as that goes, the strange thing is there's almost no one that wants to talk about it. So it makes me feel like that there is something going on there. And we've even seen supposed pictures of this train with, the top of it bashed in and things like that. But there's no record of any debris or anything like that, which is very strange. Goose actually did a open records request for the incident and has not gotten anything. And this has been months ago.
Oh, they'll red tape that for years.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that's probably one of the most legitimate UFO claims out there. If you read the report, it's almost worded like an incident report.
Wow. Yeah, Junebug, he's all in it. He went down and did some research down there, him and another guy named Chad McKenzie, and they were actually doing a documentary on it, and they found so little information on it that they couldn't finish the documentary.
Yeah, it's like nobody. It's like everything got wiped and nobody is talking, which is weird. Down in this area, everybody knows everyone. Yeah. So it makes you wonder if, the conductor, the engineer, anybody who was involved were either paid off or relocated, witness protection or something happened there,
Sound like Men in Black type stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Scary stuff.
Come and knocked on your door and said, yeah, we know a UFO crashed into you, but look into this little red light.
Yeah. Well, they said that in the report, it says that the guy that they spoke with was named Ferguson. Didn't give a first name or just Ferguson. And if that screams,
yeah, because if it's an incident report, they're putting names.
Yeah. Ferguson just sounds one of those shady CIA
Yeah,
guys.
it's like Karen said.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's the new name for an old middle-aged white woman is Karen. But don't get me started on don't get me started on all that topics. But didn't Junebug say that he talked to some old maintenance worker that's now dead, but their cousin spoke about it, but he wouldn't. The maintenance guy wouldn't come and speak about it.
No,
I don't want to say too much about it because I know Junebug is definitely gonna save all that for the Here to
right. But
show on August 8th, so I don't want to go too much into that.
right. But I mean, you're right. He was getting secondhand information because uh, the actual guy that was there wouldn't really. He's like, no, we ain't talking about this. But I guess he, through his family, they were kind of leading Junebug in the ways that he needed to go. But yeah, then he died, and then I guess after he died, it all was done. It all hushed, and nobody ever said anything else.
That's the
It's
only
so
thing.
strange. It's so strange. If something hits my train, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, I was like, hey, well, the Clintons will play and visit, and you'll never be seen again.
That's true. That's true.
So, but that's like we got Don Neal on here next week, and he's probably one of the best Bigfoot researchers in Kentucky. I mean, he's just
Or in the
amazing.
United States.
It's a good possibility because he is so thorough, and he doesn't do this for money. It's straight up science, and it, he's got cast that he's made from Kentucky, and he's even got a handprint that was made in the mud that would be 3 times my hand size.
Oh, wow.
And the fingers go into the mud probably 4 or 5 inches. I mean, it's where it had dug itself up out of a creek bed. Um, did you guys have a lot of reports or talk much about Bigfoot on that show?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talked a little bit about Bigfoot, but it was more or less just, kind of like articles of sightings and things like that. We never really interviewed or went into detail with a lot of the Bigfoot type stuff.
I got you.
Yeah,
And we're supposed to have Cliff Brackman on in the fall sometime. Hopefully, maybe we'll see.
oh no, he's gonna be on for sure. He said he would do it in the fall. He's from Hunting Bigfoot. And shout out to Here to Chew Bubblegum, by the way, man. They do a really good job there. And
They definitely do.
Goose is a great guy, and he does a great job with that. And I can't wait to hear your podcast, Paranormal Trucker, right?
Yep, the Paranormal Trucker, and that's probably going to be a couple of weeks before I can get the first episode up. But we're just now trying to get everything moving and rolling.
I would suggest using Zoom, man, because it's the easiest thing to use. I mean, you can ask Tracy; he was doing Skype, and it was crap.
This is miles above it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality and there's no lag. It's like I said, I'd never thought to use Zoom. It's pretty awesome.
I didn't even know.
Now, if you have more than 2 people in your Zoom, you're gonna have to start paying like $15 a month for it, so you can be on longer than 40 minutes.
Yeah, when I started doing this with Seth, I didn't even know what Zoom was. I was like, well, no.
Yeah, we were talking there before we got on here, and I didn't really know. I mean, I knew what it was. Like I'd heard of it, and but I thought it was more geared toward corporate America, meetings and things like that. I didn't realize you could use it for this stuff. It's amazing.
Hey, the rednecks have taken over.
Yeah, we got technology now.
Hey, we're college educated idiots, man. Come on. So how did you get started all into this, just in general, all of the, Bigfoot, the UFOs, the paranormal, just how did it grab you and you get interested in it?
Well, since I was young, I mean, my dad, big fan of Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, stuff like that. Yeah. And of course, from there, growing up around that stuff, I grew to like Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. And then I started thinking, well, wait a second, why don't we know anything about actually what's going on outside the planet other than just, there's some dust here, there's a rock there.
Right.
There has to be something else. And then I started kind of looking, as I'm getting older, education, telling you how big the universe actually is.
Right.
We can't be the only rock that has life. You know what I mean? So that kind of started me down the rabbit hole.
I agree. And like I tell, and I know people are probably sick of me saying it, but I look at UFOs and Bigfoot encrypted all in the same way. And if just for instance, all these Bigfoot reports, they can't all be fake. There's no way. You've got, yes, you're going to have some fakes. Yes, you're going to have some misinformation. You're going to have actual bears that people are thinking, but there is no way all of these are fake because one, all of these people that are casting these prints, if you're walking out in the middle of the woods and you come across an actual print, what are the odds of somebody making that a fake and just hoping somebody comes across it? You know what I mean? So there is just no way. It's like, UFO stuff. There's thousands and thousands of reports of UFOs. Yes, some of them are high flying planes, some of them are satellites, but you have close encounters like I had. That's not fake. And you're going to have some people make some stuff up. That's that we're humans. That's what we do. But there is no way out of thousands of these reports, they're not all fake. So I just kind of keep an open mind. And like you said, with the universe, we really don't know how big the universe is at all. If you think about it, if everything you see from outside your door, as far as you could see, if that was space and our Milky Way galaxy is as big as your thumbnail, and everything around it is space, and you think we're the only living creatures in that, there's no way.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, for years and years and years, people have called, people like us that think about anything outside the norm kooks. Hey, we're crazy. There's nothing out there. What do you mean? How do you know? You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah.
I like how my eyes just got real crazy.
Crazy eyes.
But yeah, man, if people wanna send you an email, like I know you had like a mail thing on your on Here to Chew Bubblegum. Will your show have a mail thing where people can email you like their stories and stuff?
It will. Right now, it's not set up, but I do have a Yahoo address. It's Paranormal Trucker at Yahoo. Anybody who wants to kind of email me and get the ball rolling with some stories, I'm all up for that, and it would be terrific if we could get some stories going.
Yeah. Now, Tracy, speaking of stories, I just sent you a UFO story about Kentucky. If you want to read that for us.
I didn't get it, brother. I don't think. Wait a minute. Let me check real quick. Small town, 1978 sightings. Okay. Yep. Let me pull that up and I'll read it real quick. This is, let's see. WLKY, Bloomfield, Kentucky. So the headline is UFO in small town Kentucky. 1978 sightings were a regular occurrence. Bloomfield, Kentucky. Have you ever seen an unidentified flying object? Decades ago, they were reportedly seen in small town Kentucky on a regular basis. It was in 1978 in Bloomfield. Residents say they had been seeing them for many years. Somewhere between 25 and 50 people had admitted to seeing them. When WLKY went to the town back then, people opened up about their experiences. One woman described seeing 6 balls of light above the treetop forming shapes. Wow, that's the story. That was it. But there's thousands of reports of unidentified flying objects, and like I said, they can't all be fake. I mean, we've got so many reports, and even our own military have reports of these things, and a lot of them are still unidentified. All I can say to that is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know what I saw was pretty amazing, and I'll be honest with you. When I first saw it, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It shocked me to the point where oh my God, I've heard about this all my life, and now I'm actually laying eyes on it. So it was it's creepy and scary and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, it's amazing how when you see something like that and you're almost in disbelief, and then you realize, wait a second, I'm not asleep. This is actually happening.
And you don't know, man. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if a big ball of light or a big beam of light would have come down on my truck, I probably would have peed right there. Because I've always heard of these things. And of course, we've all seen Close Encounters and stuff like that. And the Travis Walton story and things like that. And Betty and Barney, the ones that were abducted by aliens.
Heels.
Heels, that's right.
Yep.
So, and all this is running through my head, and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to be one of them people.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things. Like, oh no.
Oh no, it's finally happening. I knew it was going to happen eventually out here out west. Just stayed home.
And do you have this is my last question for you, because I know we've had you on pretty late.
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm
and,
sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, it's all good, man. This is my last question for you for sure. So I can, because it's getting late, because I know you're probably exhausted, and I don't want to keep you too late. What have you had any weird ghost hunting experiences?
Not ghost hunting. A house that I used to live in, when the house that I actually grew up in, had some very, very strange weirdness going on. But it wasn't like that until my parents made an addition onto the house where they added bedrooms for us kids above the garage. And I thought I was the only one that had issues, or, we're having, some sightings or whatever. But my brother and my sister years later were telling me of some of the stuff that they had going on. And it was like, man, what was going on there? But, specifically, I remember one night waking up and it being ice cold in my room. So cold that I'm pretty sure I could see my breath. But again, I thought I was asleep. So it didn't strike me as weird right off the bat. And I thought I heard a noise outside my door, which I assumed was my brother coming home late. Well, and with the sound that it made was like metal clanging together, almost like the best way I can describe it is, have you ever seen the toy monkeys that's got the cymbals?
Oh yeah, the monkey grinders.
That's kind of what it sounds like. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. So I just trying to mind my own business, go back to sleep. And then all of a sudden I flipped from my head was on the pillow to where my feet were. My head is now where my feet are, and my feet are on the pillow. And I was held down on my left side, and I couldn't move. I couldn't even scream or yell or whatever. It was more or less just I would try to yell out, but it would come out like, I couldn't say anything. And I looking out in the center of my room, it was almost like a strobe light, and there was a tornado of, I don't know what, but I could hear like voices whispering, and it was almost like in that strobe light I could see figures. As quick as it happened, it was done. All right, weird nightmare, going back to sleep. A few minutes later, I hear that metal again, and I felt something sit down on my bed, and I thought, that's the dog. That's the dog. And I raised up real quick, and I'm face to face. I'll never forget it. It was brown, and it had just like this fur and ears. I mean, it was and the most terrifying creature I've ever seen in my life. Had wings, all that. Instantly felt relief and went back to sleep. The next morning, I Googled, that was weird. What was that dream about? What I had actually saw was a gargoyle sitting on the edge of my bed, and it pressed the bed down. Very strange, very weird. I don't tell a lot of people this because they think I'm a kook, but it was probably the most realistic, sketchy, scary thing that I've ever had happen to me spiritually.
Wow, that almost sounds demonic, almost.
Yes, very much so.
Ooh. No, see,
And
that's
and my brother and my sister's stories are up there too, on that level. So it makes me wonder what 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 happened there. Why was there the old house, the old part of the house, nothing ever happened in it, but the new part of the house was just craziness happens.
wow. And, and it's like you said, we used to be called kooks or nuts or crazy, and a lot of people wouldn't even tell their stories.
Yeah.
But now it's becoming almost, I don't want to say commonplace, but it's becoming more common,
Hmm.
and people are more open minded to it, because you're still going to have the people say, "Yeah, you're nuts," whatever. But with the introduction of this to how so much of it's on TV now, um, you have these Bigfoot shows, you have these ghost shows, and this and that. People are becoming aware of these things exist, and just when you tell a story, you're not people aren't so quick to say, "Well, you're nuts." So just with the introduction of it all, you have the Travel Channel who seems like there's no travel to it unless you're traveling through time with a ghost. Um, well, that's all they do anymore is ghost hunting shows. And then you got Animal Planet with these Bigfoot shows, and the History Channel with Bigfoot shows and things. And it's bringing it to the forefront, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. And that's but just to kind of give you an idea there though, nobody is still, I mean, you're right, everyone has, it's almost commonplace, but no
Mhm.
one cares. Again, that kind of goes back to so much disinformation, so much political BS that is swamping the news.
Yeah.
There's no legitimate issues are going to the way, or not legitimate issues. I mean, it could just be, again, hey, these guys are kooks. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But it's stuff like that is just going by the wayside. Again, the government comes out and says 144 of 145 cases that we have released, we can't explain.
That's right. That's right.
Nobody cares. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's a
And
strange time.
well, and it's not your typical anymore. Back in the years ago when somebody saw a UFO, they found, the lady with her hairs in curlers standing on her trailer porch with, a beer in her hand and a cigarette. Yep,
Yeah.
I saw it. It flew right over.
Yeah.
It's not. We don't have that type of person doing it. We have, everyday suburban moms and higher up people saying, yeah, I mean, they exist. We've seen it right here.
When there are videos in the city centers, like New York City, there was a UFO that was that recorded. It makes you wonder: is it more? Are there more sightings now, or are they ramping up for something, or is it just because everyone has a phone now that they can take pictures?
There's everybody's a newsman. Everybody's a cameraman now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's a newsman.
And it's true. I mean, you get pulled over or somebody gets pulled over by the cops. First thing they do is film it.
Yep.
You see a car wreck, first thing you do is film it. You see
Yep.
some guy getting arrested, you film it. I mean, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just so prevalent now.
And it's and on the other hand, there it's sickening too in a way, because you watch someone, I mean, getting brutally beat outside of a bar or on the street or whatever, and the first thing to do is you're going to film it. Or
Yeah.
somebody who is having a medical emergency, you're going to film it. You're not.
Yeah.
No one is going to step in to help anymore, and that's humanity is doomed.
That is that is the downfall and the immorality of us humans. That's where we're
Like
headed.
what you said last night, Tracy, with you on the Tracy's Weekly Rant.
Yeah, the morals of this country have went right into the crapper, and we live in a me world, and everybody
Yes.
is looking for that 15 minutes of fame,
Yeah.
whether it's you with the camera or you on the camera. But either way, we don't help each other like we're supposed to.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Exactly right.
And when can we expect your show to be out?
I'm hoping to have something by the 1st of August to put out into the world. hopefully, we'll be able to record a couple shows back to back, and then that way we'll have a couple of weeks that that we can continue to build it up.
Can people expect Ghost to be on there?
I'm sorry.
And people expect Ghost to be on there?
Maybe at some point we'll probably have like I said, we're going to be doing interviews, local podcasts and stuff. And like you and I were talking, it's all about helping the local podcasts, get out there, and that's working with each other and helping each other. That's the only way to do it. So yeah, I mean, at some point, we'll probably do an interview with Here to Chew Bubblegum if they'll be up for it.
I can tell you, me and Tracy are down to do an interview, and I'm sure that Junebug, I'm sure Junebug and Tracy within Dark Places as well would be down to do an interview with you as well. I can speak for me here on Seth's Daily Podcast. I'm 100% down to be on your show.
Yep, anytime you want.
I'm gonna hold both of you to it.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I've only got the one UFO story, but I can tell it.
Oh, that's a good one though. Daggone, it's a good one.
Yeah, I got a UFO.
Well, and my dad, he'll eat that up. He'll love that. He will.
Oh, does he have UFO stories?
I don't know if he has any UFO stories, but like I said, he's big into Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica. He watches Ancient Aliens. Never misses an episode. Skinwalker Ranch, he's into it. You know what I mean?
The Twilight Zone, man, that's my favorite. The old black and white Twilight
Zone.
I can't watch Twilight Zone, man.
I love them.
But yeah, man, I got a UFO story as well. I'll save that for your show. I already said it on Here to Chew Bubblegum, so obviously everybody knows it was around here at the lake. It's a pretty boring story compared to Tracy.
Oh, well, let's hear it.
Oh man, it was just a flying disc that looked like a old dish thing, like an old dish satellite thing from back in the 90s. And
the great big 22-foot round.
Yeah, but
the big ones, yeah.
It was a smaller version of that, and it had red lights, and it just went fast. I mean, there's a good possibility it was probably a satellite, but still, I was a 10-year-old kid, didn't know what the heck it was.
Well, yeah, but you're over in that area there. That wasn't there some sort of supposed UFO crash in that area?
Where at? I live in Knott County around the lake.
I believe Goose said it was in Knott County. Supposedly, and I can't remember the year. It may have been before. It may be before you were born. But he was talking about, they blamed it on a mine blowing up or something.
That might.
Well, Roswell.
I guess you hear stuff. You hear new stuff every day, man. I definitely want to hear more about that.
Well, when you talk to Goose again, ask him about it because it's a pretty intense story.
Hey, Roswell was swamp gas.
Oh yeah.
And
Venus
weather balloons
refracting off of
weather balloons and dummies being dropped.
Absolutely idiotic.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, we definitely plan on having you on again, especially when you start your show. We'll definitely have you on. Probably gonna have to tell us ahead of time to book us because we are. I mean, man, we are absolutely
slammed. Yeah,
we are slammed. But we are talking about doing a trucker appreciation thing in September.
Oh, he's gonna be on there.
I would love to have you on.
There ain't no question. There ain't even no ifs and buts. He's definitely.
We just talk about trucking, and yeah, man, that's.
Oh, definitely. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Truckers do not get.
I already scheduled that with him already, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, no, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure talking with you all. I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, sir. Same here, and good luck with the Paranormal Trucker.
Yes, sir.
Definitely subscribe to the Paranormal Trucker whenever he starts it in August.
I do have a Facebook page set up for it already.
Okay,
I'll let people know some more information once we get closer to.
Send me the link and I'll put it in the description, man.
Definitely. All right.
On YouTube, yeah. And that link will be in the description. Definitely go like the Paranormal Trucker on Facebook, and when he has the YouTube, subscribe to it, and then follow him on Spotify and every other platforms because he'll be on probably before that. He'll be on probably before that podcast is up. Maybe. We'll be on his
Hopefully.
show. We'll definitely do a crossover show for sure, man. We love talking UFOs, me personally, and I know Tracy does as well.
Absolutely.
And, subscribe to In Dark Places on YouTube. Follow them on Spotify and like their Facebook page as well. And definitely like my Facebook page on Seth Daily Podcast on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube. And y'all have a good night and God bless. And I want to thank formerly known as Crockeye and now the paranormal trucker for
Yes,
being
sir.
on tonight. And I want to thank Tracy for co-hosting. Y'all have a good night and God bless.